This is Bone Chillers to disturb your dreams. Dare to join us? Click subscribe, ring the bell. But remember, we cannot guarantee your safety from the nightmares that await. Prepare to be thrilled, chilled, and filled with a sense of dread you'll find nowhere else. Welcome to the darkness. We've been waiting.
The Chuchunya of Siberia, 1970, an enigmatic encounter. In the vast, enigmatic wilderness of Siberia, legends and myths have swirled through the snowflakes and whispers of the wind for centuries. Among these, the tale of the Chuchunya, a mysterious, large, hairy hominid akin to the fabled Yeti, has persisted, intriguing and perplexing those who hear it. The 20th century, especially the 1970s, witnessed a surge in these sightings, sparking both fear and fascination in the hearts of locals and researchers alike. This account delves into the story of the Chuchunya, particularly focusing on the events of 1970, a year that became a cornerstone in the legend of this elusive creature. The Chuchunya, according to local Siberian lore, is a creature of substantial height, covered in dense fur with a humanoid appearance but beast-like in its demeanor and movements. It has been described as shy and elusive, often evading human contact, yet its presence is felt in the deep footprints left in the snow and the eerie sounds that permeate the cold Siberian nights. The tales of the Chuchunya are not mere products of the recent era. They have roots deep in the history of Siberia, passed down through generations, often featured in the folklore of indigenous communities. The 1970s, a time of global curiosity and exploration of the unexplained, saw a rise in reported sightings of the Chuchunya across Siberia. This period coincided with a growing interest in cryptids worldwide, with the Yeti and Bigfoot capturing the public's imagination. In Siberia, the Chuchunya stepped out from the shadows of folklore into the realm of possible reality. The year 1970 in particular marked a significant moment in this narrative. It was during the early months of 1970 that a team of geologists, venturing into the remote regions of Siberia for research, reported an encounter that would add a compelling chapter to the Chuchunya's story. While exploring a dense, snow-covered area, the team came across a series of large, unusual footprints. Unlike any animal tracks familiar to them, these footprints were distinctly humanoid, but of a size that suggested a creature of considerable stature. The discovery sent a ripple of excitement and apprehension through the team. Compelled by their finding, the team followed the tracks, which led them deeper into the wilderness. As they ventured further, the sense of being watched, of a presence lurking just beyond their field of vision, grew stronger. This feeling culminated in a fleeting sighting. A large, shadowy figure observed at a distance, moving with an agility surprising for its size. Although the encounter was brief and the figure disappeared into the thickets, the experience left an indelible mark on the team. The geologist's account quickly spread, reigniting interest in the Chuchunya. Expeditions were mounted, some by enthusiasts, others by scientists, to uncover evidence of this enigmatic creature. Despite numerous expeditions and investigations, concrete evidence eluded these seekers. Photographs and further footprint findings did emerge, but they were often inconclusive, shrouded in doubt and skepticism. This surge in interest also led to a re-examination of historical accounts and encounters with the Chuchunya. Researchers delved into archives, unearthing reports and anecdotal evidence from as far back as the early 1900s. These accounts, while varied, painted a consistent picture of the creature's characteristics and behavior. Yet, they also highlighted the elusive nature of the Chuchunya, a creature that seemed to exist in the periphery of human experience, always just beyond reach. The Chuchunya phenomenon, especially the events of 1970, raised important questions about the intersection of folklore and reality. For some, the Chuchunya was a symbol of the untamed and unknown aspects of nature, a reminder of the mysteries that still lie hidden in the remote corners of the world. For others, it was a subject of scientific curiosity, a puzzle waiting to be solved with the right evidence and research. Despite the lack of definitive proof, the story of the Chuchunya, particularly the encounters of 1970, has continued to captivate. It serves as a testament to the enduring allure of the unknown and the human desire to explore and understand the mysteries of our world. The Chuchunya of Siberia remains an enigmatic figure, a shadow in the snow, a whisper in the wilderness, a legend that refuses to be forgotten. The The Dyatlov Pass Incident, 1959. The Dyatlov Pass Incident, a haunting and mysterious event, unfolded in the unforgiving terrains of the Ural Mountains, Soviet Union, in 1959. This bewildering occurrence, which led to the tragic demise of 9 experienced Soviet hikers from the Ural Polytechnical Institute, remains shrouded in enigma and speculation even decades later. The group, led by the eponymous Igor Dyatlov, embarked on their trek with the goal of reaching Otorten, a mountain in the northern Urals. The team consisted of 8 men and 2 women, all of whom were skilled in long ski tours and mountain expeditions. Their journey commenced on January 25, 1959, but what was intended to be a challenging yet exhilarating adventure swiftly devolved into a horrifying ordeal. By February 1st, the group had reached the eastern slopes of Kamchatka. Here they decided to set up their camp for the night. The location, exposed and devoid of any natural shelter, would later puzzle investigators, given the group's experience and the availability of more protected sites nearby. The reason behind their choice remains one of the many perplexing aspects of the case. It was during this night that an inexplicable series of events transpired. For reasons still not entirely understood, the hikers cut open their tent from the inside and fled into the frigid wilderness, underdressed and unprepared for the harsh elements. The temperature that night plummeted to around -30 degrees Celsius, 22 degree F, accompanied by heavy snowfall and strong winds, creating a scenario in which survival without proper gear was nearly impossible. When the group failed to return as scheduled, a search party was dispatched. The rescuers, upon discovering the abandoned and damaged tent, found it contained the group's belongings and shoes, indicating a hasty and panicked departure. The first 2 bodies, clad only in underwear, were found at the edge of a nearby forest, beside the remnants of a makeshift fire. 3 more bodies, including Dyatlov's, were discovered at intervals leading back towards the tent, suggesting they had attempted to return to the camp. The remaining 4 hikers were found months later, buried under 4 meters of snow in a ravine, 75 meters away from the tree line. Unlike the others, they were better dressed and had sustained severe injuries. 1 had significant skull damage, 2 had major chest fractures, and 1 had a small crack in her skull. Notably, these injuries were not consistent with those caused by an avalanche or a simple fall. Adding to the mystery, some bodies showed signs of soft tissue damage. 2 had missing eyes, 1 had a missing tongue, and facial tissue damage was observed. The Soviet investigation, while thorough, only deepened the enigma. They concluded that a compelling natural force had led to the deaths. The lack of a more definitive explanation led to a proliferation of theories, ranging from an avalanche, katabatic winds, and infrasound-induced panic, to more far-fetched ideas like military involvement or an encounter with unknown entities. The case was reopened in 2019, and in 2020, the Russian authorities announced their conclusion that an avalanche had been the likely cause of the tragedy. They posited that the group had cut their way out of the tent due to the avalanche, fleeing in panic into the deadly cold. The injuries were attributed to being caught in the avalanche. A study in 2021 by scientists from EPFL and ETH Zurich supported this theory, suggesting that a slab avalanche could explain the severe injuries suffered by some of the hikers. Despite these findings, debate and speculation continue to surround the Dyatlov Pass incident. The area where the tragedy occurred was later named Dyatlov Pass in memory of the ill-fated expedition. A memorial stands not far from the site of their last camp, a somber reminder of the mysterious and tragic end met by these 9 young adventurers. Their story, now known globally as the Dyatlov Pass Incident, remains one of the most enduring and perplexing mysteries of the 20th century, a chilling testament to the unforgiving power of nature and the limits of human endurance. It serves as a haunting reminder of the unpredictability of the wilderness and the courage of those who dare to explore it.
The Mysterious Mermaids of the Volga River, the 18th and 19th centuries. Once upon a time, in the vast and wild landscapes of Russia, there flowed the mighty Volga River. Its waters, as enigmatic as the land itself, were home to tales and legends that spanned centuries. Among these were the whispered stories of the mermaids of the Volga, ethereal beings that had been part of Russian folklore since time immemorial. The tales took a chilling turn in the 18th and 19th centuries when a series of eerie sightings were reported, giving birth to the legend of the Mysterious Mermaids of the Volga River. In the small riverside village of Nizhny Novgorod, the villagers grew up listening to the old tales. The mermaids were said to be beautiful yet sorrowful creatures, their songs echoing through the misty evenings. They were revered and feared in equal measure, believed to hold powers over the river's fortunes. The fishermen of the village would often leave offerings on the riverbanks, hoping for a bountiful catch or safe passage through the treacherous waters. It was in the year 1774 when Ivan, a young fisherman known for his skepticism, scoffed at these ancient beliefs. He refused to pay tribute to the mythical beings, declaring them nothing but old wives' tales. The elders warned him of the wrath of the river spirits, but Ivan's heart was as stubborn as the current of the Volga itself. As summer waned into autumn, a thick fog began to envelop the river each night. It was during these veiled evenings that the first of the strange occurrences began. Villagers reported seeing figures in the mist, half hidden yet unmistakably feminine, their silvery hair flowing like the river's current. Their songs, melancholic and haunting, drifted through the fog, ensnaring the hearts of those who heard them. Ivan laughed at these tales, attributing them to the overactive imaginations of his fellow villagers. However, his laughter ceased one fateful night when he encountered the mermaids himself. While fishing in the twilight, his boat became ensnared in what he first thought to be a mass of seaweed. As he struggled to free the vessel, he saw them, the mermaids. Their skin was pale as the moon, their eyes like deep, dark pools of the Volga. They sang a melody that was both beautiful and terrifying, and Ivan found himself entranced, unable to move. The next morning, Ivan was found unconscious on the riverbank, his boat adrift. He awoke with no memory of what had transpired, but from that day forward he was a changed man. His once mocking tone turned to one of reverence and fear when he spoke of the mermaids. Years passed, and the sightings became more frequent. The stories told of mermaids luring young men into the depths with their songs, never to be seen again. The river, once the lifeblood of the village, became a source of dread. In the winter of 1823, a group of scientists arrived, intrigued by the tales. They sought a rational explanation, believing the sightings to be mere misinterpretations of natural phenomena. Their skepticism, much like Ivan's, was unshakable, until one night, when they ventured onto the river to conduct their observations. The scientists were never heard from again. Their boat was found empty, drifting aimlessly. The only clue to their fate was a journal, recovered from the vessel, which contained a final entry describing the hypnotic beauty of the mermaid's song and the overwhelming sense of sorrow that permeated the air. The legend of the mermaids grew, becoming a cautionary tale told to children and a reminder to respect the mysteries of the Volga. The mermaids were no longer just folklore. They were a tangible fear, lurking in the depths of the river, a reminder of the unknown that lay in the heart of nature. As the years turned into decades, and the decades into centuries, the sightings diminished. The modern world dismissed them as mere superstition, a relic of a bygone era. But in the village of Nizhny Novgorod, by the whispering waters of the Volga, the elders still speak of the mermaids. They talk of the nights when the fog rolls in, thick and impenetrable, and of the haunting melodies that sometimes drift on the breeze. The mysterious mermaids of the Volga River remain an enigma, a ghostly echo of a past intertwined with mystery and fear. In the heart of Russia, where the river flows eternal, the legend endures, a whispered reminder that some mysteries are not meant to be unraveled. The Belmes Faces in Krasnodar, 1971. In the small town of Belmes de la Moraleda in Jaén, Andalusia, Spain, an ordinary house at Calle Real 5 became the center of a mysterious and possibly supernatural phenomenon that captured the imagination of the world. This story revolves around what came to be known as the Belmes Faces, a series of enigmatic images appearing on the concrete floor of the Pereira family home. This account aims to delve into the events as they unfolded, the investigations that followed, and the lingering questions that remain unanswered to this day. The beginning of the phenomenon. It all started on the 23rd of August 1971, when Maria Gomez Camara, a resident of the house, reported an inexplicable occurrence. She claimed that a human face had formed spontaneously on the concrete floor of her kitchen. The image was so clear and distinct that it sent a wave of shock and disbelief through the family. In a bid to erase what they thought was a disturbing anomaly, Maria's husband, Juan Pereira, and their son, Miguel, destroyed the image with a pickaxe and laid new concrete. However, their efforts were in vain as a new face emerged on the floor. The mayor of Belmes, upon hearing of this bizarre occurrence, stepped in and prohibited the destruction of the new face. Instead, the section of the floor where the face appeared was cut out and taken away for study, marking the beginning of a series of investigations into the phenomenon. The House of the Faces, Maria's home, quickly gained notoriety and was dubbed La Casa de las Caras, the House of the Faces. By Easter of 1972, the house had turned into a tourist attraction, drawing hundreds of curious visitors. Over the next 3 decades, the Pereira family claimed that new faces continued to appear on the floor. These faces, both male and female, varied in shape, size, and expression, adding to the enigma of the phenomenon. Skepticism and investigations. While many believed in the paranormal nature of these faces, skeptics argued that the phenomenon was nothing but a hoax, possibly orchestrated by the Pereira family for financial gain. Skeptical researchers conducted extensive tests on the faces, but could not conclusively prove them to be fabrications. The debate between believers in the paranormal and skeptics continued, with no definitive conclusion reached. Forensic analysis in 2014. In a significant development, the investigative journalism TV show Cuarto Milenio, hosted by Iker Jimenez, conducted a technical analysis in 2014. This research was led by José Javier Gracinea, a doctor in chemical engineering, and Luis Alamancos, a forensic criminalist. They aimed to unravel the truth behind the Belmes faces using modern scientific methods. Gracinea analysed samples extracted from the faces with the homeowner's permission. His findings were startling. He concluded that the images were not made with paint and showed no signs of external manipulation or the use of known elements. Alamancos, on the other hand, attempted to reproduce the faces using various methods previously considered in investigations, such as concrete solvents, hydrochloric acid, and silver nitrate. His efforts were unsuccessful, and he expressed his absolute bewilderment at the inability to replicate the faces. Conclusion. The Belmes Faces phenomenon remains a subject of fascination and debate. While some continue to believe in its supernatural origins, others remain skeptical, attributing it to human ingenuity or a long-standing hoax. The 2014 forensic analysis added a new dimension to the mystery, challenging both the believers and the skeptics. The Belmes Faces of Krasnodar stand as a testament to the unexplained mysteries that continue to perplex humanity, blurring the lines between science and the paranormal. Despite the passage of time, the story of the Belmes Faces endures, captivating the imagination of those who hear about it. Whether a product of otherworldly forces or human deception, the phenomenon undeniably holds a unique place in the annals of unexplained mysteries, inviting each new generation to ponder the limits of our understanding of the world around us.
The flying creature of Kamchatka, the 1940s and 1950s. In the remote and rugged terrains of the Kamchatka Peninsula, a land swathed in the mysteries of ancient Russia, there lurked an enigma that had haunted the locals for decades. This tale, a blend of whispered fears and unsettling encounters, centers around a creature so bizarre, so terrifying, that it seemed ripped from the pages of a gothic horror novel. The first known sighting of this winged terror dates back to the early 1940s. In the small, isolated village of Yelizovo, nestled among the snow-capped mountains and dense forests of Kamchatka, the villagers led a life of simplicity and hardship, in tune with the untamed nature surrounding them. But their peaceful existence was about to be shattered by a presence both unknown and ominous. It began as a series of inexplicable events. Livestock started to vanish from the farms. At first, the villagers attributed these disappearances to the harsh winters or wandering predators. But as the incidents grew in frequency and brutality, a chilling realization dawned upon them. The missing animals were found later, or rather what remained of them. They were mutilated in a manner that defied any known predator's method of killing. Whispers of a dark, flying creature started to circulate among the villagers. Eyewitness accounts described it as a large, winged entity with a span that blotted out the stars and a silhouette that sent shivers down the spine. Its eyes, they said, glowed like embers in the dark, and its screeches echoed through the valleys, a sound that melded despair and hunger. The years rolled by and the sightings continued, ebbing and flowing like a sinister tide. By the 1950s, the legend of the flying creature of Kamchatka had spread far beyond the confines of Yelizovo. Scientists and curious adventurers came seeking the truth, but the creature remained elusive, a shadow flitting at the edge of reality. Among these seekers was Ivan Petrovich, a young zoologist from Moscow, who arrived in Kamchatka in the summer of 1954, armed with nothing but his unwavering determination to uncover the truth. His days were spent gathering accounts from the locals and his nights staking out in the cold, hoping for a glimpse of the creature. It was on one such night under the light of a full moon that Ivan's world changed forever. He was camped out near the edge of a dense forest, the air thick with anticipation. Suddenly the silence was shattered by a blood-curdling screech. Ivan grabbed his camera and ran towards the source of the sound. There, in a clearing, he saw it. The creature was more horrifying than he had ever imagined. Its leathery wings unfurled, casting a monstrous shadow. Its body was covered in dark, matted fur, and its talons were like curved daggers, dripping with fresh blood. But it was the creature's eyes that held Ivan in a paralytic trance. They burned with an intelligence that was almost human. Ivan's camera flashed, capturing the moment for eternity. The creature turned its gaze towards him, a look of ancient knowledge in its eyes. Then, with a powerful beat of its wings, it ascended into the night sky, leaving Ivan trembling with fear and awe. The photograph Ivan took that night became the most compelling evidence of the existence of the flying creature of Kamchatka. However, it also raised more questions than answers. What was this creature? Where did it come from? And why did it haunt the Kamchatka Peninsula? In the years that followed, the sightings gradually decreased. Some say the creature had died, others believe it had merely retreated into the deeper realms of the wilderness. But the legend lived on, a chilling reminder of the mysteries that lurk in the unexplored corners of the world. Ivan Petrovich never returned to Kamchatka. The encounter had left a mark on him, both physically and mentally. He spent the rest of his days poring over ancient texts and folklore, trying to piece together the puzzle of the creature he had witnessed. His obsession consumed him, and to his dying day he maintained that what he had seen was real, a living relic of a time long gone. The flying creature of Kamchatka remains a subject of debate and fascination. For the people of Kamchatka, it is a tale passed down through generations, a cautionary whisper in the night. For the rest of the world, it is a mystery, a tantalizing glimpse into the unknown. In the end, the true nature of the creature remains shrouded in the mists of time and legend. Perhaps it was a guardian of the wilderness, a spectre of the past, or simply a figment of collective imagination. But for those who have heard its cry in the depths of the Kamchatka night, it will always be a terrifying reality, a reminder of the primal fear that lies dormant within us all. As the moon casts its silver light over the rugged landscape of Kamchatka and the winds whisper through the valleys, one can't help but wonder if the creature still soars through the night skies, a phantom on the wing, forever etched into the lore of this mysterious land.
Thank you for watching, and remember, the darkness awaits. Until our paths cross again, stay fearful and stay subscribed.